everyone. Ashley Mailloux here, taking a look at the Tuesday race of the day for September 2nd. It is race number 2 out at Assiniboia Downs. 7.5 furlongs, allowance optional claiming competition. And as we take a look at the slate here for the field, a field of 6 with the morning line favorite being the number 2 Lab Rat. This one for Jared Brown was a winner last time out and actually 2 starts back as well. And we're going to talk about the race on August 20th. It's a key race. It was a field of 6. And we will see 5 of those horses once again here square off. So it's a key race for a couple of reasons. Obviously, they exit it, but the dynamics of that race, I think in some ways, could certainly be the dynamics once again here. So 8-5, as I mentioned, on the number 2 Lab Rat. We'll take a look at the Timeform US pace projection for this field. And with this 2-turn distance, it's going to be interesting to see how it does play out. You can see favors front runners. The 2, potentially Lab Rat, could find himself on the lead again. And if that's the case, could be a little dangerous for everyone else. The 4 and the 6, they could be tracking Bossy Holiday, Falsely Accused. I agree with that. I'm very curious to see what Falsely Accused is going to do with the outside post. We've seen this one close from off of it, and also has been sometimes a little bit sort of a mid-pack sort of horse as well. So we'll see what the trip ends up being. Just do note, not only does this favor front runners, as I've already mentioned, but the LP flag, late pace flag, is attached to the number 3, Mr. Jaws. We'll dive into it here with the number 1, Bringer of Rain, who exits that key race, back on August 20th. I thought it was an even performance, needed to show a little bit more, but it was the first start at Assiniboia for the new connections. Prior to that, you can see, was at Woodbine with Bill Threnos on the Tapeta in the last 2. They tried the turf, they tried the Tapeta, and you can see all 3 performances, sort of the same result. An okay finish, needed more, and just didn't have the rally that you would want. And that's sort of what we saw last time out. But I think this horse does have some upside. Second start in the new barn, getting familiar with the settings, and the fact that, go back to the most recent wins, was on a win streak, 3 in a row. I know they were at the claiming ranks down at Gulfstream Park, but this horse raced very well. I think the key difference, though, Gulfstream Park, a mile versus 7.5 at Assiniboia. 1 turn versus 2 turns. So Bringer of Rain might offer some value in here and maybe can take a little bit of a step forward. The 2 Lab Rat was the winner of that race on August 20th that I've mentioned. We'll take a look at the replay, and Lab Rat does everything that he needs to do to get this done. He fights, he kind of has to re-rally and get going once again, and he's able to do so, and thought it was a game performance. I think the dynamics were a little bit different than his last 2. He made the lead, but he had more pressure than he's faced in the past. And he was able to sustain his bid. Not necessarily as impressive visually as the race 2 back in terms of the win margin, but I do love that he had to dig deep. He absolutely loves it at Assiniboia, and we saw it in the Timeform US pace projection. He could easily be the pace setter in here, and that's when he becomes a very big danger. Go back to his races last September out at Assiniboia. These sorts of things happen where he makes the lead easy and he stays in front by a few, but a very short price here on Lab Rat. I think he's going to take play off the 8-5 morning line. The number 3, Mr. Jaws, he won last time out. He was pretty impressive. He was a little bit closer to things. He was cutting back in distance from 1 1/8 in the Manitoba Derby while dropping in class last time out, and they didn't go all that quick, and I think that was sort of the tactics to put him a little bit more into it early. And he ended up being just much the best. Now, his figures are a little bit softer than the 2 Lab Rat, but not by much. And curious to see what he's going to do now. Going 7.5, he's going to cut back in distance after those last 2 efforts. But I think his running style could work to his advantage. I know he has the LP flag. We'll see how far back he is early on. I'm not convinced he's going to be that far back. You can go back to some of his other races down at Lone Star. He can be more forward. It depends on the pace. And there isn't a ton of speed in here. Lab Rat, look at the fractions that his last 2 are. So Mr. Jaws, I'm not sure he's going to be that far back, and I think he could get the right trip, and a very consistent 3-year-old. I know he's facing the olders in here, but look at his last 2 efforts and how he's running those. I think from a figure standpoint, while he does need to take a little bit of a step forward, he can compete with this level, I think, without really any problem. So I like Mr. Jaws in here. I think he's going to offer some value. The number 4, Bossy Holiday, was 3rd last time out in that race. That Lab Rat won, Falsely Accused was the runner-up. And I thought this horse ran well. He's really never been respected as you go down the page. And A little sad to see when he is so consistent. Look at his off odds. Last time he went favored was back in August of 2024, and since then you've gotten good value on him, with the shortest price being about 7-1 when he was second. And the last two he's been double digits, 10-1 and 18-1, and he had to step it up a little bit last time out, and he only missed by half a length. I wonder with him if he just has sort of a short burst of energy and then he kind of backs off. He's unable to sustain that bid. That's what it's looked like, at least to me, in those last two. But he has run well, and luckily two back, it didn't matter. He was still able to hold on, and last time out just came up a little bit short. So he'll get his turn and try once again to kind of turn the tables on Lab Rat and Falsely Accused. The 5, the Ronald, he finished last in that event back on the 20th, and his last few, they haven't been great. Now his races in May and in June, they were very good efforts where he was firing big numbers, but he's lost a little bit of a step, and he's been in some tough spots. Obviously, Judo was the win of those 2 stakes races, 2 and 3 starts back, but I would have liked to have seen more last time out. I know he had a little bit of a troubled trip, so I think with that in mind, and the fact that his last efforts before that weren't also good, if you like him in here, he's going to be a good price. Then rounding out the field is the number 6, Falsely Accused. I mentioned he was the runner-up last time out. He was closer to the situation. I think with the outside draw and the fact that there isn't a ton of speed, I think they're going to try similar tactics, and why not? It almost worked last time out. Maybe they'll get another shot. Another shot also at 7.5 furlongs in consecutive starts. Prior to that, 2 efforts at 6 furlongs. You just felt like the distance was a little short, and maybe you feel like it was last time as well, but certainly just a different kind of blend in terms of the pace dynamics. And I think knowing that Falsely Accused can sort of race from mid-pack, back of the pack, or be more forward, I think when you have an outside draw and you have a race that sort of lacks speed, you may have to use your horse a little bit earlier. So we'll see if Falsely Accused can get his first win of 2025. He rounds out this field of 6 for the Tuesday race of the day. And we will move to top picks, but don't forget, free past performances on the DRF website for our race of the day each day. And here, I am going to try to get creative. I do think Lab Rat could be very dangerous, knowing that he has early foot, knowing his form is just top notch right now with those back-to-back wins. But I like Mr. Jaws. I know he can potentially, be a little too far back, and we'll see what he does now, going from 1.1 miles to 1 mile to a 7.5. But I liked his performance last time out. I think he ran well in the Manitoba Derby, and I think he deserves a look in here. I'm curious to see the price. He has to stay around this morning line price, in my opinion, to be intriguing, which is 4-1. I don't want to take too short of a price on Mr. Jaws. I will use Lab Rat underneath, and then from here, I mentioned Bringer of Rain is a horse that could maybe take a step forward. I think those dirt figures at Gulfstream Park were quite intriguing, being in the 70s in those starts, and I'm willing to just give him another try, and now I think he's going to offer some value. Then also the 6, Falsely Accused. He might sort of be the one that's tracking Lab Rat throughout and can maybe turn the tables this go around. But interesting race with 5 of the 6 runners exiting that same key race in August. Good luck.